Yes, this shit is raw coming at your door. You start to scream out loud. Wu-Tang's back for more. Yes, the hour's full. I told you before. Prepare for mic fights and bust a cold.
I want to welcome everybody to the Raider War Report, where we discuss everything Raiders. Actually, we talk about football, talk about other teams as well, but primarily we talk about the Oakland Raiders, but I am a football fan. But I want to talk about one topic in particular that has the Raider Nation divided like I've never seen. I've been watching the Raiders since 1979, and never have I seen a topic divide the nation like this one in particular. And of course, that topic is Derek Carr, current quarterback of the Oakland Raiders. So some people think that he should stay. Some people think that he should go. Where do I stand on the topic? I think it's time for Derek Carr to go. I think we 6 years in, we've seen what he could do. We know what he can't do. And going into a seventh year, it doesn't take that long for a quarterback to be successful. I remember Bill Parcells, he was talking about quarterbacks. He said, after 3-4 years in, you know what you have in a quarterback. And with Derek Carr, this is my issue with Derek Carr. And I think a lot of people that have issues with Derek Carr are going to say some of the same things that I'm about to say right now. When it comes to Derek Carr, there always seems to be an excuse. Granted, 2016, he was having a good year. Actually, he was having a great year. It was an MVP candidate. Then he broke his leg. Now, I was excited about that year. I thought he was going to be the next great thing. However, even during those years, we had a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. But even I know from watching football, that style of football cannot be sustained. That's not sustainable. You have to get to some point where you're constantly scoring in the second, third, and fourth quarter and dominating some teams. And so that next year, I thought that he was going to take that next step. Until this time right now, we've never seen Derek Carr take that next step. In fact, in some ways, he regressed. And so, and since that time, everyone had all kind of excuses for Derek Carr. What bothers me is last year, you know what the excuse for Derek Carr was last year? He had two rookie tackles. He had Colton Miller and he had Brandon Parker. How could he win with a rookie left tackle and a rookie right tackle? So you know what Mike Mayock and John Gruden did this year? Fixed that problem. They went and signed the best tackle in free agency, Trent Brown, in my opinion, who's the best right tackle in the game right now when he's healthy. And then Colton Miller took an astronomical leap forward. He became one of the better left tackles. I think he only let up 5 sacks this year. A big improvement from where he was last year. So that's not an issue anymore. And if you notice, none of Carr supporters, the Kardashians as we call them, none of them use that excuse anymore. Not this year. Now they on to the next excuse. Well, he doesn't have a number one receiver. I'm going to tell you why this bothers me. When you look at what Derek Carr had, or actually, matter of fact, they over-exaggerate. They say he has no weapons. I'm going to tell you why this bothers me. Derek Carr has weapons. He has a really good offensive line. He got sacked 25 times this year. Some of those sacks was his fault because he held the ball too long. But he only got sacked about 25 times this year. He was one of the least pressured quarterbacks in the NFL. So he has a really good offensive line. He has, even though a rookie, one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. Darren Waller came out of nowhere. I thought we was going to be in trouble after we let Cook go. But Darren Waller stepped up. And in my opinion, the only tight ends you could probably say that's better than Darren Waller this year was Kelsey and Kittle. And Waller had more yards after the catch even than Kelsey. So he's definitely one of the top 5 tight ends at least this year. I want to be, and that's being modest. I want to say the top 3. From a talent standpoint and from a speed standpoint, I like Darren Waller. So he was a weapon. Foster Moreau was a weapon. Our other rookie tight end before he got hurt. Hunter Renfrow came out of nowhere. In my opinion, going to be one of the best slot receivers. He had a good year this year. And Tyrell Williams, not a number 1 receiver, but a really good number 2 receiver. He was having a good year up until he got hurt that 5th game. I think around 5th game of the season. But injuries going to happen in football. The point is this. The only position you could arguably say that Derek Carr didn't have was a true bona fide number 1 receiver. But if you ask anybody, any quarterback in the league, would they rather have two really good receivers, or two great receivers, and a poor offensive line, poor tight end, and a poor running game? Or would they rather have below average wide receivers, a good tight end, a dominant running game, a dominant offensive line? Which one would they rather have? Most quarterbacks would take what Derek Carr currently has. There are quarterbacks in the league that win, that are performing and doing better with less than what Derek Carr has. You put what's his name? Russell Wilson. Put Russell Wilson behind our offensive line. Russell Wilson would lose his mind. Never in Russell Wilson's career he had an offensive line like the one Derek Carr has right now. And people over-exaggerate, say he has no weapons. What people don't understand, especially about football, your offensive line is a weapon. That's how in the 70s the Raiders were able to beat the Purple People Eaters in a dominant defensive line. Wow, we had Upshaw, we had Art Shell, Darby, we had all these dominant offensive linemen that dominated. That 90s Cowboys team, they had a dominant offensive line. An offensive line is a weapon. And you have other quarterbacks like Tom Brady, who won in this league for years with a good offensive line, good running back, a slot receiver, and a great tight end. So it can be done. When you look around the league, you have teams like quarterbacks like Kyler Murray coming his rookie year. Yes, he has Larry Fitzgerald. Doesn't have too much after that. Didn't have a great running game, a terrible offensive line, and he put up good numbers. He put up good numbers. And so everybody's always making excuses for Derek Carr, and we're done with excuses. We're done with excuses with Derek Carr. Here's another thing with the stats. Everybody's into analytics right now, and I get it. You have to balance analytics with what you see with your eyes also. I don't need analytics for me to see, even last year when we playing against the Rams and Derek Carr panicking through a interception to Corey Little, and then he runs it back. I don't need analytics to tell me that. I don't need analytics to see for me to tell me what Derek Carr did when he was running against the Dallas Cowboys and could have scored, and he put the ball in his left hands and fumbled it, and then 2 years later he comes back against Green Bay this year doing the same exact thing on the same exact end zone and fumbles against Green Bay and lose momentum. I don't need analytics to tell me that. That's just bad play calling. I'm going to tell you what that is. Derek Carr panics in crunch time. He saw an opportunity to beat the Cowboys. The pressure was on. Instead of being calm all the way through the play, he panicked. Saw it against Green Bay. Instead of being calm all the way through the play, he panicked. And that play against Green Bay, that changed the whole momentum of that game. I could take that from a second-year quarterback, third-year quarterback, even a fourth-year quarterback. But we're talking about a sixth-year quarterback. There's no excuse for that. So moving on to Tom Brady. Some people are divided over Tom Brady. Do they want Tom Brady here? Some people don't want him here because of the Tuck rule. If anybody has a complaint or a reason for not bringing Tom Brady in, I think it would be John Gruden. John Gruden was the coach of that Tuck game. And him and Tom Brady are really good friends. And I'm sure from what the reports are saying, he's not opposed to bringing Tom Brady in. Mark Davis, still a Raider, during that Tuck game, his father was the owner of the team. He spoke to Tom Brady at the fight, and doesn't sound like he's opposed to bringing Tom Brady in. Al Davis, the ultimate Raider, when he wanted to trade with New England and wanted to bring Richard Seymour in, he didn't say, well, I'm not doing a deal with New England because of the Tuck rule. No, he understood it was business. He didn't like the Tuck rule, but he still did business. And he brought in Richard Seymour, and he was pretty good for us for a while. So to say you don't want Tom Brady here because of the Tuck rule makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, did I like the Tuck rule? No. Was I pissed off about that game? Yeah. And had it went the other way, who knows? We could have been talking about John Gruden as the next Belichick. And that could have propelled us to Super Bowl wins opposed to New England. Never know. But the bottom line is, if they're not opposed to Tom Brady coming in, how could fans say they don't want Tom Brady because of the Tuck rule when Al Davis did business with the Patriots after the Tuck rule game? Would I rather have Tom Brady here than Derek Carr? Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. People want to say, well, Tom Brady's numbers were down. But you look at what he did with what he had. See, we want to make excuses for Derek Carr, but then we want to say Tom Brady is on the decline. Derek Carr had a better offensive line than Tom Brady by far. Marshall Newhouse was his left tackle. So he had his center was out. His number one receiver was 35-year-old Julian Edelman, and he was hurt some of the year. And he had no tight end, and his running backs were trash. His running backs were trash. And he still put up more touchdowns and less interceptions than Derek Carr. And his offense scored more points than Derek Carr. So it's just, you can't say for sure, but you could just use logic and reason and say, well, if he did that, if Tom Brady did that with that offense, if you put him behind our offensive line that could protect him with a running back like Josh Jacobs, a fullback like Ingle, a tight end with like Waller, and a slot receiver like Hunter Renfrow, Tom Brady won with that. That set up his whole career for the most part. There's no reason why he couldn't do that now. On the Raiders anyway. On the Raiders. I understand the Patriots got a better defense. We're just talking about the offense. And I'm going to tell you something. This may sound harsh, but Derek Carr has the mindset of a loser, man. He has the mindset of a loser. I'm going to tell you how. Remember we was watching the San Diego game, and we got 3 interceptions off of Phillip Rivers. We beat that game. One of them, safety ran it back for a touchdown, and we barely beat San Diego in that game. After that game, I was looking at it, I was like, that's not good. And Derek Carr, during his post-game interview, talking about, well, yeah, it was a great team win. You know, it was good to see all the elements come together. I'm like, a great team win? You barely beat him. If you didn't get he didn't get that. I said he didn't get that pick 6. That we would have lost that game. Derek Carr. Offense didn't do anything. Then we came back and we beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Barely. By far the worst team in the league. We barely beat that team at home. And after the game, yeah, Derek Carr said we had to play better, but he's still talking like nothing's wrong. Man, that's a problem. I'm looking at that game like we're going to lose to the Jets. I knew we were going to lose to the Jets. See, what Derek Carr doesn't understand is sometimes it's not about a team win. It's not about just beating a team. It's about sending a message to the other teams on your schedule and other teams in the league. That's what it's about, Derek Carr. For example, when you go back and look at and I'll probably post it later, when you go back and you look at Derek Carr, his response after that Cincinnati victory, and then you go back and look at Tom Brady after they beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Not the lowly Bengals. They barely beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And after that interview, Tom Brady was pissed. And I believe they were like 9-1 at that time. Tom Brady was pissed. He didn't even want to do the interview. Why was he upset? Because he didn't get up there and say, oh, it was just a great team win. He understood what was at stake. See, Tom Brady has the mindset of winning. He wasn't looking at just that game. He was looking at, yeah, we beat this game. That's the battle. But we're not equipped to win the war. We can't beat Kansas City playing like this. We can't beat the Ravens playing like this. Or as you saw, they couldn't even beat the Titans. So Brady was upset, not because of that one game. He was looking at the bigger picture. See, Derek Carr, he's thinking, oh, we won the battle. Yeah, but you're losing the war. You're going to lose the war. And we did lose the war. Tom Brady understood that. Mindset of a winner, it's a bigger picture. Oakland Coliseum. Last game in Oakland. The game where the Heidi game was played. When we beat Pittsburgh to go on to win our first Super Bowl. All the great games that played in Oakland. And you let the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that just came on the scene 20 years ago, come into your backyard and beat you on your home field with a depleted Jacksonville Jaguars team. No Jalen Ramsey. A bad offensive line. So and they didn't have a great defense. And you let them come in your backyard and beat you with a 5th-round quarterback, Gardner Minshew. He didn't have that many weapons. Hardly any. Actually, he had fewer than Carr. And a hobbled running back at the time. Listen, I understand there's no quarterback, not one, that could put the team on his shoulders every single game. But at some point, if you're a franchise quarterback, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to do that. If there was no other game, Derek Carr, you win that game in Oakland, the last game in Oakland. You put that team on your shoulders and you win that game. And that's the game you can't blame on the defense. On that, what did we score in that game? He scored 16 points. That had nothing to do with the Raiders' defense. He scored 16 points in that game, none in the third quarter, I believe, if I can remember correctly. If there's one game you win that game. You can't get that back. Jacksonville just came on the scene 20 years ago, and you let them come and be the iconic franchise, a team that helped build the whole NFL. The stadium where Al Davis' flame is being burnt every single game. Come on, man. Some people don't even understand what the Raiders spirit is about. That's why Al Davis talked about the will to win. What is the will to win? When everything isn't going right, do you got the will to win? See, Derek Carr said, well, we wish we could have won. We wish we could have played better. Yeah, but like Al Davis said, the late, great Al Davis, it's one thing to want to do it. It's one thing to say you're going to do it, but it's another thing to do it. And bottom line, Derek Carr can't do it. Derek Carr can't do it. I want to see my quarterback pissed off after a loss. Not talking about, oh, yeah, I wish we could have did it for the fans. Do it for the fans. When we were on that long road trip in the beginning of the season, what was Derek Carr saying? Oh, yeah, that was a tough stretch. But listen, Raider Nation, we're gonna need you coming back. Maybe we could string some wins together and try to make a playoff push. We showed up. I'm in New Jersey. We was at the Giant Stadium, or the stadium in New Jersey. What did you do during that Jets game? Nothing. Scored 3 points. Here's why that Bengals game was so important, which a lot of y'all don't understand. My boy asked me, did I think we were going to beat the Jets? I said, absolutely not. And I knew we weren't going to beat the Jets because when we barely beat the Bengals, that gave the Jets confidence. I'm listening to talk radio over here. They on the radio saying, well, listen, the Raiders just barely beat the Jets. Beat the Bengals. They're not a powerhouse. And they came out and played with confidence. If we would have stomped the Bengals, stomped the Chargers like we supposed to, that game probably would have been different. So that's why, and that's what Tom Brady understands, what Derek Carr does not. It's not just about that battle. It's about the war. It's about the war. It's not built like other Raider quarterbacks. Some people say we should sign a free agent to push Derek Carr. If you got to sign a free agent to push Derek Carr, that should tell you all you need to know about Derek Carr. He don't need to be a starting quarterback. He don't need to be a starting quarterback. So where I'm at right now is this. This is what I hope happens. I would like us to sign Tom Brady. If we can't sign Tom Brady, I hope we sign any quarterback other than Derek Carr. But my preference is Tom Brady, and here's why. I would like us to sign Tom Brady and draft a quarterback. Even hopefully we could trade up and get a second-round pick. Maybe draft I don't know. I like Anthony Gordon out of Washington State. I think he's a sleeper. And let him sit behind Tom Brady. If we're going to have a quarterback sit behind another quarterback, I'd rather that young quarterback learn from Tom Brady how to win than Derek Carr, who doesn't know how. And Tom Brady, at this point, I know early in his career, he wasn't really too keen on training or developing or helping young quarterbacks behind him like a Garoppolo. But at this point, at this stage in his career, I believe he would, especially went to another team. Derek Carr, if you keep Derek Carr and you draft a quarterback, Derek Carr's not going to be too excited to coach or train his replacement. But I think Tom Brady would. And if I got a young quarterback, I'd rather have Tom Brady teaching that young quarterback while at the same time still trying to win, and then eventually pass the torch over to whoever that young quarterback is going to be. That's what I hope. If not Tom Brady, I'm sorry. I just don't want to see Derek Carr on our team. He talks as if he's he's an elite quarterback. He talks as if he's an elite quarterback. Even during preseason, after we lost Antonio Brown, what was he saying? He was going around, yeah, this football thing, I do this. Well, what do you do, Derek Carr? What did you do? Nothing. And then people say he take accountability for his play. Not really. He throws shots. For example, when people were talking about his job and bringing in some more another quarterback, what did he say? He said, well, people are always talking about his job, and Mike Mayock and the owner and the coach, they know what pieces we have to add. Let me translate what he's saying. That's saying, I'm not the problem, it's the pieces around me. It's the pieces around me. If I'm on this team and I'm a starter, I want to go to Derek Carr and say, well, what other pieces do we need to add, Derek Carr? I want to know what. And now, do we need to add pieces? Yes, but that's not his place to say because he's not in a position to do that. Because that, to me, that comes across as saying he's not the problem. We just don't have all the pieces, and coaches just know what pieces they have to add, and it's not him. If I'm on this team, I want to know what pieces we have to add. What pieces do we have to add, Derek Carr? So, I know one thing. We got to do something quick because the Chiefs, they just won the Super Bowl, which I hate. They're talking about dynasty. You got to catch up quick. Or we're going to be like the Dolphins and the Jets trying to catch the Patriots. And I'm sorry, Derek Carr, he's a notch above Garoppolo. You're not winning with Derek Carr. You're not beating Mahomes with Derek Carr because even in that Super Bowl, you could build a great defense, but at some point your quarterback has to, it comes down to your quarterback. You can't hide your quarterback, especially in the postseason. And the Chiefs, they improved their defense. They're going to keep improving. So now it becomes defense against defense. Both of those are good. So let's say that's a wash. The offenses are good. It comes down to your quarterback. And Derek Carr's not outgunning Pat Mahomes. He's just not. He doesn't have the ability to outgun Patrick Mahomes. So we have to do something quick. That's all I'm going to say, I think, for this video. I'm confident in Mike Mayock, confident in John Gruden, and I'm excited about going to Vegas, but I hope that car stay parked in Oakland. Thank you for checking in. And if you like my channel, please like and subscribe because I got more videos coming soon.